What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Curry Tech, and today we'll be going over the RTX 3060 versus the RX 6700 XT. Anyway, thank you guys for supporting the channel, and let's get into this video. Now we'll be going over the RX 6700 XT rumors, leaks, and everything that we have, and also going against the new RTX 3060, which was announced at CES 2021 with 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. As we go down, we see specs of each card, and the 6700 XT has been provided with two cards, the reference and custom. As you see on the RTX 3060, based on the chip G0106-300, is a chip that is 300mm squared, and has CUs of 28 and shaders of 3584, or CUDA cores you could say, has ray tracing cores of 28, tensor cores of 112, and a base clock of 1320, and a boost clock or megahertz of 1770. If you're into FP32, FP16 compute teraflops, there's FP16 of 12.74 teraflops and 32, and FP64 teraflops of 12.74. By the way, all leaks are provided by Igor's Lab. Thank you, Igor's Lab, a very reliable leaker and also enthusiast. The RTX 3060 is a modest card, and the pricing at CES 2021 was around $329 for a card that had 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. It has a 192-bit bus and memory speed of 15 gigabits per second. This is based off GDDR6, not the new GDDR6X memory, I believe. Versus the RX 6700 XT, as you see on the screen right now, is based off the Navi 22 XT chip. That is a 335mm squared die and has 40 CUs, which translates to around 2560 cores. It has 40 ray tracing cores, but no tensor cores at all. And Infinity Cache it has over the RTX 3060, which is 96 megabytes. Base clock and boost clock is where the RX 6700 XT shines against the Nvidia one, producing a whopping 1489 base clock and a boost clock of up to 2250. In terms of FP16 teraflops, we can see almost double times the teraflops compared to the RTX 3060. But in terms of FP32 and FP64, lower just by a little bit from the RTX 3060. It's the same 192-bit bus, but instead of 15 gigabits per second on the GDDR6, it is 16 gigabits per second. It's the same GDDR6 memory, and will feature actually a 2x8 pin instead of RTX 360's 1x8 pin. And this is the TBP wattage of around 170 for the RTX 360, which would explain why it only needs 1x8 pin versus the 200 watt reference card, which is around 2x8 pins. It would make sense. Moving on to the custom ones, such as the AIBs, ASUS's, and everything else, it's almost the same across the board except for the base clock and boost clock. As you can see here, base clock has not been provided, as there has not been a standpoint. If you go off the reference card, we could usually say that it might be 50 to maybe 80 megahertz higher depending on the manufacturer, but the boost clock up to 2400 megahertz, which is kind of insane against the RTX 3060. Same specs around for the RTX 3060 and RX 6700 XT. Anyway, let's dive down into what Igor is talking about here. And this is going into the RTX 6700 XT. As you see on the screen, there are actually two BIOSes available on the screen right now. The one on the left is the reference versus the one on the right is the AIB one. At least that's what, if I read this correctly. The overdrive limits of both of these cards are super high, going to 2950 megahertz and 2854. However, the one on the right is the reference one, so it will be taking more wattage, around 220 plus wattage, compared to the more conservative one on the left, which is the reference one, which seems to be around close to 286 TGP versus the 220, 210 wattage of the more AIB partner custom cards. And as you can see, both BIOSes are not the same. Actually, this one's showing frequency, while this one on the left is showing overdrive limits. Overdrive limit is basically the maximum clock that these 6700 XTs can hit. Not getting too into depth of those, these cards will be very good at overclocking, which is what AMD is going to have up their sleeve against the RTX 3060 if you're into hitting those high overclocks. Hitting 2950 megahertz, however, that's on liquid nitrogen or LN2 if you're into that. Jay's 2 Cents does it, and Gamers Nexus does it as well, and Kingpin, I believe. And as we go to power consumption, we see here the 186 power limit for the reference versus the AIB, which is 211. As it was talking about into the slide, they're saying that the RX 6700 XT may actually surpass the RX 6800X in terms of GPU voltage and the 6800 XT. So these cards may be giving more performance than the 6800X cards, but that's probably won't be the case, as it all comes down to IPC, which is instructions per clock, and also how everything works together. So we'll see how this goes on to the future. These cards are going to be really good at overclocking, so they're good overclocking champs against the RTX 3060. Unfortunately, if that's all AMD can provide against the RTX 3060, I don't know. But Igor's lab has also predicted performance based on 10 games, and he's very reliable for this, but this is also hypothetical situations. As you see here, the RTX 3060 reference, this is the reference, not custom AIB cards, on full HD 1080p resolution. As you see on the screen, you have the RX 6800, 3070, 28 Ti, 28 Super, 3060 Ti, and so on and so on. The ones we want to focus on is the RTX 3060, and the 3060 Ti, and also the RX 6700 XT. Unfortunately, that's with him saying with the smart access memory on. Unfortunately, NVIDIA does not have something like that yet, but they are working on that. He's saying that the RX 6700 XT with smart access memory on will most likely reach around 107 FPS versus the RTX 3060, which it will reach 100. But at the price point of 3060, which is 12 gigabytes of onboard VRAM, for only $330, the RX 6700 XT will have to do something that makes their card better. So we'll see in the future. This is only hypothetical situations. This is not actual tested benchmarks, but only predictions. This is Igor's lab, so check out his videos and stuff. He's very cool, very reliable dude, also German. Yeah, check out his podcast. Anyway, versus the RX 6800, he's saying that the 149 FPS versus the RX 6700 XT is going to be around 107 FPS. So far, the 3060 seems to be losing in most of these cases, but this is only hypothetical situations. Now, moving on to the next slide, our next actual news from Igor's lab, reported by WCCF Tech from a leaker. This is the first image of the RX 3060. However, there has been a slight change to this. The RTX 3060 is now going to be called the Ultra model. NVIDIA has actually changed the naming scheme of the RTX 3060. Here's a nice picture from WCCF Tech. They're also reliable leakers as well. And according to these leaks, someone actually from NVIDIA got leaks about the RTX 3060 12GB model being the Ultra. So not only is NVIDIA making 3 variants, which is the Ti, Super, and now Ultra cards, and that Ultra will actually be higher than the Ti and Super variants. So it's very interesting to see that. Hopefully this isn't true. I hope it's not true, because there's already a lot of confusion with Ti, Supers, and Ultras to begin with. But last year, the RTX 2060 Ultra was priced around the same price point as this RTX 3060, so it will make sense. And as we go down to here, we see that the RTX 3060 Ti and the RTX 3060 Ultra. The GPU name is still unconfirmed, so the one I said before may not actually be the right one, but that's what the one on the slide said. So it's based on Samsung's 8nm processing, and honestly, NVIDIA is going to be just flooding the market with cards. But will you be able to grab your hands on one, I don't know. But it's kind of weird for me because the Ti has more cores, but the RTX 3060 has more onboard VRAM. So Ti versus Ultra versus Super is it's going to be very confusing for people. And honestly, this marketing scheme seems very annoying. But Nvidia has done this in the past to go against competition like AMD. Anyway, it's the same price point, $299. That's not the right price, but this is coming around after the CES 2021 launch of the RTX 3060, or not paper launch, but confirmation of the RTX 3060. So Nvidia behind the scenes has actually changed the naming scheme, so that's something to know about. But anyway, if this is true, then we're going to have 3 models of the RTX 3060, and also we will have a 3050 and a 3050 Ti coming later on down the line. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like and comment down below any other video ideas you have. Anyway, peace out and keep on gaming. Thank you for watching.